Hi, students. So for this last little primer here, I wanted to come back to the crucial element of all of our discussions about policy and other aspects of coastal hazards, and that is how much sea level will rise in coming decades. And this diagram here shows the two different scenarios: a model based and a rapid ice based. So this is based on the fact that we lose a lot of these uh, sort of low hanging ice shelves and ice sheets in coming decades. And then within each of these scenarios, there are the different emissions projections, A2 being business as usual, B1 being very optimistic in terms of conversion of energy to renewables, and A1B being somewhere in between. So probably we're going to be on this green trajectory here, hopefully between green and blue, but red will be the worst case scenario. And you can see that if we have these major ice melt situations, we could have sea levels. These are inches, by the way. I'm sorry about this. This was a graph that I liked. So we're going to have 70 inches of sea level rise, up to 70 inches of sea level rise, which is almost 6 feet of sea level rise. This is very unlikely, but think about that. And then compare that with the low case, so no major ice melts, and the B1 scenario. So that would be about 15 inches. That's already built in, that we'll have about a foot of sea level rise by 2100, almost no matter what we do in terms of our carbon reduction. Okay, so that's kind of, you look at those two estimates, somewhere between 15 inches and 70 inches, and you think about differences in policy that would have to result from that. So here we could probably carry on the same way we are now, thinking about fortifying these cities, these low-lying cities like Miami and New York, Boston, New Orleans, Galveston, Houston, San Francisco in the U.S., obviously Venice, Rotterdam, London, Sydney, Shanghai, Osaka, all those other cities, Guangzhou. Um, we're going to have to continue to think about that in no matter what. But think about what would happen with a 70-inch sea level rise by 2100 and what we would have to do. 6 feet of sea level rise. That would mean a whole order of magnitude of different type of planning and policy that we would have to put into place. And so what I'm going to end with is we're going to start seeing which way we're going in terms of these rapid ice melt events somewhere in the next few decades, and you'll see this in your lifetimes. You'll see these discussion about what happens when you lose a big ice sheet, or a big ice sheet starts accelerating into the ocean, and what would happen then? The Thwaites, for example, the Thwaites Glacier off Antarctica, if that starts breaking up, we're going to be heading on this trajectory. And so even if we then reduce the carbon emission to low with the B1, we're going to still end up with over 4 feet of sea level rise, which will mean a whole order of policy difference from if those ice sheets don't melt. All right, so that's it, and I'll talk to you on Monday.